So you're managing treatment for wet AMD. You know that protecting your vision is, without a doubt, the #1 priority. But what happens when the biggest obstacle isn't the treatment itself, but all the phone calls and calendar alerts and just waiting? That's what this is all about. We're going to break down how to navigate those frustrating insurance delays and keep your treatment right on track.
Yeah, this probably hits close to home, right? The real stress isn't the injection. It's that endless loop of phone tag, those pending authorizations, and that awful feeling that your eyesight is just sitting on hold. So, the big question is, how do we break that cycle?
Okay, first up, the real risk. We're going to dive into why your calendar is, believe it or not, a critical part of your treatment. Let me be really clear about this. The true enemy of your treatment isn't the needle, it's the delay. When your appointments get pushed back by a few weeks or more because of paperwork, that quietly becomes the single biggest risk to how well your care is going to work.
And the things causing these delays? Oh, they're probably all too familiar. That pending authorization status, it can feel like a total black hole, right? The endless back and forth calls, the faxes, and that one tiny, missing piece of paperwork. These little points of friction can add up to a really significant and honestly vision-threatening delay.
All right, next section. Let's start decoding your insurance plan. We're going to demystify one of the most common and confusing insurance rules out there, step therapy.
So what is step therapy? Honestly, just think of it as a try this first rule. Your insurance plan is basically saying, hey, we need you to start with our preferred medication, which is usually more cost-effective for us. If that doesn't work, then we'll talk about covering another one. It's all about the sequence of treatment from the insurance plan's point of view.
Picture it like a ladder. Step 1, the bottom rung, is often a drug like Avastin. Now, if your condition requires a change, your doctor has to document exactly why you need to move up to step 2, to a drug like Eylea or Vabysmo. The key thing, the only thing that matters, is having the right paperwork to justify moving up that ladder.
So what's the logic behind this ladder? You guessed it. It's almost always about the cost. A drug like Avastin has a much lower price tag, so it's usually the insurance plan's preferred first step. You see, their job is to manage costs. Your clinic's job is to keep your care on schedule. And you're kind of stuck right in the middle of that tug-of-war.
Okay, this brings up a super frustrating question. One you've probably asked yourself. Why is it that you and your neighbor can have the exact same insurance plan, but your approval sails through while theirs gets stuck in limbo? It's a fair question, and let me tell you, you are not imagining things.
The answer? Well, it's all in the tiny details. There can be small differences in plan contracts or even in how your specific clinic handles their billing. But you know what the biggest reason is most of the time? It comes down to whether that authorization packet is complete versus almost complete. That tiny gap, that almost, is where weeks of delays are born.
Okay, now let's talk Medicare. We're going to compare the two main paths here, because understanding the difference between a Medicare Advantage plan and original Medicare with a Medigap policy is key to knowing what kind of hurdles you might have to jump over.
So on one side, you've got Medicare Advantage plans. These can have more of those managed care rules we've been talking about, like step therapy and prior authorizations, which can mean more paperwork. On the other side, you have original Medicare with Medigap. This route generally has fewer of those hurdles for Part B drugs and can make your out-of-pocket costs a lot more predictable. It's a trade-off, really, between extra benefits and administrative simplicity. But here's a really important insight to take from that. A Medigap plan, yes, it can absolutely lower your stress about the cost, for sure, but here's what it doesn't do. It doesn't magically fix a clinic's paperwork process. Good documentation is still king, no matter which path you're on.
So if good documentation is the secret weapon, what's the winning strategy? Well, it's all about partnership. We're going to look at how you can help get faster approvals, not by becoming an insurance expert, but by simply knowing who to talk to and what they actually need. All right, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. When you're trying to get through this insurance maze, your most important partner, well, it might not be who you think. Of course, your doctor's clinical judgment is vital, right?
It's the clinic's billing and authorization team. They are the ones on the front lines every single day. They are the translators, turning your medical needs into the language that the insurance company understands. They see exactly what the plan is asking for, and more importantly, what might be missing.
So the goal here is to help that team tell a really clear and complete approval story to your insurance. Think of it like it has 4 chapters: a crystal clear diagnosis, your current status, your history with past treatments, and finally, the doctor's reason for choosing this specific drug right now. Look, I know a delay or a denial can feel really personal, but I promise you, it's almost always just mechanical. It's not the insurance company rejecting your need for care, it's usually just a small, fixable gap in the paperwork, a missing date, maybe a detail from a recent scan. If you can frame it in your mind as an incomplete problem, it becomes a whole lot less intimidating to solve.
Okay, last part. Let's put together your action plan. I'm going to give you the precise questions you can ask to just cut right through all the noise and confusion.
This is your script. Seriously, the next time you call the clinic's billing team, just ask these 5 simple questions. This moves you from that vague, anxious feeling to a place of clarity. Knowing the exact status, especially if it's incomplete and what's missing, is the single fastest way to break a logjam.
And before you get off the phone, do not hang up until you have these 3 things locked down: the exact drug name, the current authorization status, and your next appointment date. Think of this as your personal little dashboard for managing this whole process.
So, after all of this, everything we've talked about, it really boils down to one simple, incredibly powerful question. This is the one that really, truly matters.
Don't just ask, is it covered? Covered is just an idea, right? It's a benefits concept. Instead, you need to ask, is it approved and scheduled? See the difference? That is reality. That is the question that confirms all the paperwork is done, the drug is waiting for you, and your appointment is set in stone. That is the final word that means your vision care is officially on track.